Growing up in the quiet town of Rotenburg, Germany, Armin Meiwes lived a lonely life. His childhood was overshadowed by a cold and controlling mother who isolated him from other children. He wasn't abused, not in the traditional sense, but the emotional absence of warmth shaped something monstrous. As a young boy, Armin had fantasies, not the usual imaginary worlds kids drift into, but dark, disturbing visions. He dreamed of having someone who would never leave him, someone who would be part of him forever. And in his mind, there was only one way to achieve that. It started with small obsessions, reading stories of cannibalism, watching horror films, and writing disturbing fantasies. But over the years, those fantasies festered. They grew, until he couldn't tell the difference between what he imagined and what he wanted. In early 2001, Armin logged onto an internet forum called the Cannibal Cafe. It wasn't satire, it wasn't fiction. It was a place where real people shared cannibalistic fantasies. He posted an ad. He wasn't looking to kill. Not exactly. He wanted a willing participant, someone who would consent to be eaten. The message was clear. Looking for a well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. He expected trolls. He expected rejection. But what he didn't expect was a reply. Enter Bernd Jürgen Brandes, a 43-year-old engineer from Berlin, successful, intelligent, and as it turned out, deeply disturbed. Bernd responded to Armin's ad seriously. He wasn't coerced, he wasn't drugged. He wanted this, he needed this. On March 9th, 2001, Bernd took a train to meet Armin at his farmhouse in Rotenburg. What happened over the next several hours is almost too gruesome to describe. But here's the truth. Bernd arrived willingly. They drank coffee, then wine. They discussed the plan in detail, recording everything, every word, every consent. Then came the act. Armin severed Bernd's penis, at Bernd's own request. The two of them tried to eat it together, raw. It didn't go as expected. Bernd lost a lot of blood. He drifted in and out of consciousness, and for nearly 10 hours he remained alive, lying in a warm bath, bleeding slowly, while Armin read a Star Trek novel and waited for him to die. Finally, as Bernd lay weak and fading, Armin kissed him, then ended his life. He carved him up, stored parts of him in the freezer, cooked him with olive oil and garlic. And over the next 10 months, he ate him, alone, in silence. It might have remained a secret, if not for one final mistake. Armin posted another ad, another fantasy, another invitation. But this time, someone called the police. They raided his home and found what can only be described as a horror show. Tupperware containers filled with human meat, a deep freezer stocked with labeled body parts, and the infamous video. Armin was arrested. In court, he admitted to everything. He never denied it. He even described the taste. Like pork, he said, only a little bit stronger. He was initially sentenced to 8 years for manslaughter because Brandes had consented. But after a retrial in 2006, he was convicted of murder and given life in prison. Today, Armin Meiwes remains behind bars. He claims to have found religion, says he regrets what he did. But the truth? The line between fantasy and reality was never just crossed. It was obliterated. And somewhere out there are others like him, quiet, patient, waiting for someone to say yes. If this case unsettled you as much as it did me, hit the like button. Subscribe to Obscura Files for more real-life mysteries, unexplained deaths, and things they don't want you to remember.